welcome Internet to the psychoanalytic talk. And today we're going to be talking about narcissistic morals. So it's a very specific concept that was theorized by Paul Adams in his book The Obsessive Children, Socio-Psychiatric Study. So I haven't read that book. I found the concept in this book, Fairbairn's Object Relation Theory in the Clinical Setting by Celani. A very good book that I've already reviewed and I highly recommend. But the reason why I wanted to talk about that concept is that he doesn't insist upon it, Celani. Like, it's a couple of lines, page 188, and that's it. However, it's been like virtually 6 months since I've reviewed the book, more or less, give or take. But that very specific concept stayed with me, of narcissistic morals. So it's something I wanted to explore today in the video, as I feel that that concept has a lot of interest in explaining phenomena. So I'm going to start with Paul Adams' understanding of the concept and his theorizing of it. And I'm going to expand it upon what I think should be expanded to and how we should, it would help us to understand certain things happening in the here and now. So, for Paul Adams, when children are in an environment, developing in an environment with abusive parents, those parents are going to basically justify their actions and ask the child to do things for them, not because they're right, but because it suits them, or because they want them, or because they desire them. That substitution in between that the parent desires and what is right is at the core of narcissistic moral, meaning that the parent is gonna masquerade his wants and needs as them being moral, being the good thing to do, the right thing to do, and that basically shifting the perspective of the child from what is societally good to what mommy or daddy wants. And what's going to happen? So here I'm extrapolating because Celani doesn't go into the massive details here. But what I think happens is that basically the child is going to be, in a way, fundamentally confused. Confused between the abusive parent's statements and what he or she has to do, the child, to answer them. And in a way, it's going to create this strange idea, I think, within the child, that society itself is backing the pathological parent. That what the parent wants is what society wants. That in a way, the whole of the pressure of society, the whole collective superego of society is going to come crashing down on the child, or starting to hurt the child if ever they disrespect the authority of the parent and the narcissistic moral that parent is going to put in place. Because the parent is going to present this as the utmost sacred of everything, is that everything, even if it's morally right, externally morally right to do something, if it doesn't suit the parent, that moral is going to become wrong, worthless, and stupid. And that devaluation of morals, of true morals, is going to prevent the child from understanding real, true boundaries and the real morals, and perhaps even later, or prevent them from developing their own sense of ethics, or developing such a cruel superego that no ethics is going to be able to prevent the child from not feeling guilty or ashamed. So in a way, it is a way of destroying the child's relationship with the environment for a quick fix on the part of the parent. Because the parent is doing this because they can't stand the frustration. Any form of frustration is already too much for that individual. So therefore they're pushing it on the child to answer their needs in a way that's so fundamentally broken that it breaks the whole point of view on society. and the child internalizes a set of rules that are nothing but arbitrary, preventing them and impeding them from becoming truly reflexive upon the rules and their own sense of ethics. And it hurts the child deeply, one way or another, or by identification the child is going to do the same and become an individual that justifies the narcissistic moral in turn, because basically they're going to repeat what the parent has done, or by internalizing every single rule in order to be perfect and then to not be hurt by all the abusive parent in their minds, or by the collective superego, which at this point has merged with the pathological parent, meaning that basically the child is going to try and apply every single rule perfectly, meaning the superego is going to have a monumental space and the child is not going to be able to develop in a spontaneous way, because every rule has to be internalized in order for the child to survive in a way. So that's pretty much, I think, the point of Adams. So here I've, of course, put in my whole spin on it, but the idea of narcissistic morals is Paul Adams' idea. So what is so intrinsically interesting? What is so intrinsically interesting with this idea is that it's fundamentally antisocial. So here I'm not just talking about the antisocial personality disorder diagnosis, I'm talking about how this idea is society destroying, because it goes against the whole point of society. Society unites humanity through a select number of rules, both unspoken, in law, in customs, in culture. So all of this is bounded by rules. Moral rules are perhaps the most important. It's not necessarily rules that are in law, but it's rules that allow all of us to live together relatively okay. Okay? Not perfect, but relatively. And that relativity is fundamentally destroyed when an individual or a group or corporation is going to use that fundamental tactic of substituting what is right, what is worth it, what is for our betterment and substituting it for their own wants and needs, and be everyone damned for the consequences. Because that's the whole problem with narcissistic moral. I'm sorry, I always invert them because of French, because everything is inverted in French. There you go. That's why I sometimes make the mistake. That narcissistic moral is going to prevent and hurt society, and that's pretty much it. It's antisocial as it can be. It destroys society, not just in itself, but in its core sets of values. Now, in terms of what is happening nowadays, I think there is a lot of narcissistic morality going around, especially when it comes to corporations. There's also individuals, but I think the main focus that I'm going to put on this is corporations and states. Instead of doing what is right, what is fundamental for someone else, what Kant would call a moral imperative, they're going to substitute it and say that what is moral is what is good for them, i.e. making money, getting power. And that substitution is fundamentally eroding the trust the public has, both, of course, in the company, but also in the system. And I think that it's one of the main problems nowadays is that narcissistic morality has become so massive that people distrust everything and everyone, and that distrust is also bounded by the fact that if morals is only there to justify what you're going to do, the hurt you're going to make, or make other people experience, then it's no morals at all. It's just everything is just fake. Ethics is basically empty, and I think that that's a true danger of how in a way, the children are at risk of, when their parents use narcissistic morals, to lose all form of moral compass, or on the contrary, it becoming so rigid that they can't live their lives. In the same way, we, as a society, as a whole community of mankind, are lost between, in a way, doing what we want and pseudo-justifying it through narcissistic morality, or on the contrary, do everything we can, humanly can, even sometimes feel guilt and basically self-depreciate ourselves because we haven't done enough, putting ourselves in a place where our expectations of ourselves are too high for what we can really do, or just not caring at all. And we are in the same dichotomy that those children are facing. Because in a way, of course, societies have always been complicated, and there's always been narcissistic morality. It's not something new by any means. But I think the fundamental core problem lies in the fact that when we don't push back against it, we become jaded, and it loses us, and we are in a way lost in a society which has no boundaries, no limits, no anything. And that the idea of that moral compass is an incredibly important one. And I think that unfortunately a lot of people are trying to redevelop it, but it's becoming extreme again in the other way, meaning that basically it's about repressing and not doing what is right. And that's a big problem also. And I think that that's a direct consequence of narcissistic morality, because when you have no compass, the only way you have left to regulate is to repress and oppress people. And that's pretty much, I think, how narcissistic morality is done in our society, because everything is justified if you make money, kind of. If you're successful, if you're famous, everything passes. And it always becomes about how your needs are right, your needs as an individual bypass everyone else's. And that's where the fundamental cracks start showing, is that it's not right and it's not okay. And it's the same terrible substitution that pathological parents do with their children, i.e. my will, my needs, everything that I want is right de facto because I feel it, because I want it. And everything that goes in against me or impedes me, including morality itself, is evil. And that fundamental substitution is, I think, fundamentally perverse in every single sense of the word. And that's, I think, a big problem, because that perversity is destroying our community. And when I mean our community, I don't mean like one group, but the whole bond every single human has with society and with humanity itself. And it's eroded by that kind of behavior. So here I went into a whole abstract, quasi-meta psychological understanding of this very simple concept. But I found it so interesting, and it kind of grew on me as the months have gone by, that I really wanted to talk about it. I really want to make something of this concept and my understanding of it. So I hope you found the video interesting, because I sure found it very interesting to make. And if you have any questions or any comments, or even if you feel that I missed something about Paul Adams' idea, or that there's something I misunderstood, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one.